Gotta focus, because I record videos sometimes that aren't oh my god. All right, we are recording. All right, this will be take numero uno. Ladies and gentlemen, why am I being so careful? It's because it's almost 5 in the morning, and I've been up all night, and I have definitely spent more time than Logan Paul when he makes the response video regarding recent CryptoZoo shenanigans, okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, to get you caught up, Coffee made an amazing series of investigative work on Logan Paul's CryptoZoo. Okay, a bunch of other YouTubers have talked about it, brought light to it. You've probably seen it on my channel, Coffee's channel, Critical's channel, Ludwig's channel, Philip DeFranco, or you've probably seen it in the Andromeda Galaxy at this point, okay? Now, you've probably seen Logan Paul here posturing that he's got some crazy tea to break down. So, ladies and gentlemen, a 7-minute response video has just been uploaded by Logan Paul. And I figured we're going to go through it and sort of investigate because, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably one of the worst response videos that I've ever actually seen. And we are just at the beginning of 2023. The first week hasn't ended, and already things are this spicy. It's a great omen for the year to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start off. Let's rip the Band-Aid off, tear the rectum, and tapping the microphone. Let's watch. Let's watch the Logan Paul response.
CoffeeZilla. I watched her 3-part series called Investigating Logan Paul's Biggest Scam, and like many on this platform, you have successfully used my name for views and money. While your work used to be impartial, your addiction to clicks has clouded your judgment, and you've made very real errors with very real repercussions. Coffee, you took a shot at my reputation, so in this video today, I'm going to be defending myself with facts, something that you have gotten in the habit of twisting as you continue to morph from an investigator to a gossip channel.
Hell yeah, we got some shots fired. God damn. Now, I don't know if you can really say that, Logan, when you were fellatiating the man. December 23rd here, by the way. While I generally appreciate Steven's creative genius and exceptional work ethic, I mean that. Oh, this one is simply not true. When appropriate, all bad actors will be exposed. On January the 3rd, on Impulsive. So, of course, this was not on Impulsive. This is a straight-up dedicated YouTube video. Wild thing to witness, but of course, again, I always like the idea of ad hominems, you know, the attack where basically you're only in it for the clicks and the views, buddy. Ha ha! Does that really invalidate all the research that Coffee has spent a year putting into the content to talk about CryptoZoo? I don't really believe it does. And even if, you know, obviously an aspect of views and growth of your channel, yeah, of course it's going to be a factor. Guess what, Logan? Like you, everyone chases after viewership and the growth of their own channels, okay? That doesn't necessarily invalidate the research that they brought to the table, okay? Those things are just come with the territory. I would figure a man who was once incredibly popular for putting a corpse up on display would kind of understand, you know, a lot of things. But ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into it. Here he gets into the next ad hominem attack, one that makes no sense.
CoffeeZilla tried to work with law enforcement in the past, but his work was described as not anchored to truth and often speculative. He is
Whoa, those are some wild quotes to bring into it. Now, of course, you might have heard of the thing, source, I made it the F up. All right, I'm only following YouTube's, babyish guidelines right now. But to get into it, okay, I think it's very easy to type in the words CoffeeZilla and not anchored to truth. All right, let's try to find the facts here. Yeah, I'm only actually seeing 2 posts here very recently, 4 hours and 10 hours ago. All right, maybe let's get rid of the quotations. Maybe I can find this quote somewhere else. Here, whoa, even better. Often speculative. Law enforcement. Here, I'll throw that one as well too. All right, you can see Google searches is filling it up. Yeah, actually, I'm not really seeing anything over here. That's a pretty big, bold claim for you to make, Logan. I mean, I kind of just debunked it right here. Where did you get that? Did you have a law enforcement friend there, buddy? Did they tell you something secret and off the books? Are you bringing that out there? Or did you make this stuff up? I don't know. I mean, I tried looking for it, okay, in good faith. Let's get on.
He is a lopsided journalist with an agenda, and he's nothing more than the Keemstar of crypto and finance. But
Keem's getting stray bullets. Jesus Christ.
As opposed to just telling you, I'm going to show you some of the core discrepancies that I caught in CoffeeZilla's investigation.
All right, let's go.
You interviewed the developer who stole the game code, fled to Switzerland, and held it hostage for $1 million. Well, his name is Zach Kelling. Surely, as the internet detective that you proclaim to be, you would know that he spent time in prison for multiple felonies, one for aggravated robbery.
Hold on. I gotta censor some of this because he's straight up giving out actual personal information like names and whatnot on a full-on YouTube video, by the way. Let's reverse a little bit back into the whole situation. Now, he mentioned that any internet investigator would figure this one out, okay? So I figured, let's try to find the source of this. Now, if you grab a screenshot of what we're seeing over here, this mugshot of what is believed to be Zach Kelling, we're going to take this mugshot and throw it into a reverse image search real quickly. Just try to see if we can find this criminal background search too. So I took that image, threw it into Tiny Search, and over 57.5 billion images, and you couldn't find one mugshot. I even threw it into Google, couldn't find the same thing. So it really made me wonder just what was actually happening in this situation. How was it that I couldn't find this person's criminal record and yet Logan could, of all people, all right? Logan straight up shows that there are criminal details that have occurred back in the years of 2002. In fact, one as early, if I'm not mistaken, let me actually use the same piece of footage that Logan is providing. According to Logan's piece, this is crime details from the year 2002. So again, I couldn't find anything under this name, under that specific district court, so it really made me wonder, is this actually public information? Now, I decided to get both sides of the story and ask Zach Kelling myself, who I found through his own website over here and his own GitHub projects, so you can actually see that he's a pretty, active programmer. But one thing that I found inside this entire thing when I DM'd him was I asked him what happened with this entire information. What happened to the criminal record? Why couldn't I find it? And according to Zach Kelling, the record is in fact expunged, according to what he has told me. Now, of course, to understand when an expunged record exists, it's removed from the public record. And of course, Zach had went down in the entire situation, and of course, had actually went down and tried to remove everything possible. And as far as my Googling has went, it's pretty ironclad. A lot of the information has been removed. I couldn't even find that mugshot. When I looked into more of what he told me, according to him, even Logan's statements, according to Zach, were reckless defamation, because it appeared that he was saying that, hey, this guy robbed a liquor store. And of course, according to Zach, he did not rob a liquor store. And I couldn't exactly find anything to confirm that the liquor store was robbed in this situation. Of course, Zach even went down into the Facebook post that Logan had showed in his video, and had shown that Logan had apparently cherry-picked it because there was moments where he was contacting with an entire team, as you can see on Discord over here. So there were about 20 different other 30-something odd devs working on CryptoZoo at the time. Of course, this is just Zach's own statements as well, too. But of course, I wanted to provide both sides and look into exactly what was happening. So again, you could look at it in two situations. Either, Logan made up a fake criminal record, or he completely exposed an expunged record, which I don't even know how that flies by YouTube's own privacy guidelines. But again, it's an incredibly unethical thing to do. And even if we're looking into criminal records, that would imply that you believe that nobody deserves any second chances. Even though these crimes were committed all the way back in 2002. And again, from somebody that put an entire corpse on blast, again, I would expect that person to be giving the most second chances imaginable. And again, it doesn't even make Logan look good. If Coffee didn't bring up the fact that this person was a criminal, you bringing it up makes it look even worse, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for who you bring on to your projects. If you brought a person on that you find out is a criminal, again, crimes committed all the way back in 2001 and 2002 that have no real tangible bearing or correlation to the things that are alleged now, it just shows error on your part. It means that you sought out person with a shady background as you're trying to portray in your video, and you still brought them onto the project. This doesn't make you look good. This makes you look like an idiot.
I guess among many things, it doesn't surprise me that he lied about having 30 engineers and a $50,000 a week burn rate.
On my end, I have 30 engineers. I'm burning $50,000 a week.
Which, side note, is how this delusionist landed on the $1 million code ransom, but it turns out he only had 3 engineers. Wouldn't
If you knew this and you brought this up, why still even bring the person or keep them on board? Again, yeah, sure, there could just be 3 employees, and then I reached out to Zach, and apparently there's as many as 30 working over Discord or remotely. So again, it's a lot of a he said, she said scenario. So again, I don't even know who to trust. And Logan's credibility is already on super thin ice with me.
Someone with journalistic integrity know their credible source had not only an agenda, but a fondness for orange jumpsuits. Or did you just hear what you wanted to hear and moved on? Because even if you're lying to yourself, Steven, you still have to believe it. And I know what you're thinking. What type of idiot would work with an unsavory individual like Zach Kelling? I guess that's what I get for trusting the team that I relied on to vet and manage Eddie's hiring process, who has turned out to be—
Hold on, wait a minute. Are we passing the buck off to the team members here? Like I said earlier, when it comes to projects like this that you're founding and you're putting your face on, you do have some form of a connection to all of it. Look, it's a bit different than like if you get sponsored by somebody and it turns out, hey, maybe things aren't above board, maybe things are out there. You cut ties. But at the end of the day, you are building something, okay? This is like building a brand, building a product, building a service. You are putting yourself at the head position of it. Even if you have a team, you, as the person that is the founder, that is the face of the project, still has due diligence. In fact, even higher than average due diligence to put in when you're hiring people around. Do you actually think this absolves you of any responsibility, or does it just show that you don't put an ounce of effort or thought into anything that you're creating?
a professional con man that I have since learned Eddie's hiring process, who has turned out to be a professional con man that I have since learned fooled billionaires, the Mormon Church, the owner of the New York Yankees, and now me.
Okay, hold on a second there, Chief. You just found out that Eddie Ibanez guy was a weird dude who fooled the Mormon Church, the Yankees, and billionaires? Well, where did you find this information out? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go look a little bit deeper because I decided to put the effort in and find out who the heck Eddie Ibanez is. A simple Google search will show you a few images around over here, but of course, one of the pages is CryptoZoo World. Ignore all of that for a second, and you find an actual page brought to you by Billy Penn, somebody that Coffee also worked with. So again, it's weird how Logan is also bringing up some of this research that, has been used against him in order to, I guess, try to help him out now that he's making a response. If you look closer into this article too, you can find that it was posted all the way back in February 2022, which means if Logan's team wanted to vet their employees or their team members even closer, this should have raised a pretty significant red flag if you were actively monitoring the situation, as you should have done with a project with financial ties like this. However, looking closer into this, you can exactly find out what Logan is mentioning. You can even read in this entire news article, this entire research piece, that you had issues where Eddie proclaimed to be one of the saviors for one of the Super Bowls with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he got a ring through it. But apparently, according to the spokespersons for the Philadelphia Eagles, he wasn't given anything. In fact, there was even really no connection between Eddie Ibanez and the Super Bowl. If you look closer into even ties behind it, you can see that there are no explanations for Eddie's wild backstories, again, involving the Super Bowl, the Central Intelligence Agency. In fact, when Logan is referring to the Mormon Church in this case, one of the companies that apparently was run by, allegedly run by Ibanez, Zibani Data, which if you try looking it up now, does not exist, surprisingly. Even when it existed, during, I guess, its prime, so to speak, it wasn't really that, earth-shattering. The company provided data marketing and analytics to the Mormon Church. According to it, allegedly, he had apparently attempted to access the Mormon demographic data, very sensitive information, and targeting church email lists to improve ticket sales for another client that he had, the International Champions Cup. And of course, the only reason the church found out is through a whistleblower. And yeah, of course, if that's the kind of respect and adoration you're getting, if that's the person that apparently you're hiring with an alleged history like that, maybe it is up to you to look closer instead of, again, bringing that person onto the team and, again, even trusting the hiring process that that person is using. It's wild that Logan uses some of the information and research that Coffee and the people that he's worked with in order to try and exonerate himself. Again, I want to stress once more, this information was available February of 2022. Again, this is a report that was brought out then. So again, you had ample time to look into this. Let's move on forward.
Surely you knew Emilio, the gentleman who supposedly let his child invest in a cryptocurrency, was allegedly responsible for 2 rug pulls before you interviewed him. So either you missed that or you knew it and failed to let the public know. Why?
Okay, wait, let's go back to this whole thing. So Coffee had a few victims, several victims actually, that came out and said that they got scammed allegedly by this token. Now, in the follow-up over here, Logan picks out one person specifically, this Emilio character, and says that this person did 2 rug pulls of their own. Now, again, this is one of those scenarios where, like, again, what's the definitive proof? You know, every time I look at a video and they're so long-winded, I make like an hour-long analysis video, but I show you every single way to get to the same breadcrumb trail I did. And the reason I do that is so that nobody can sit there and say, Moody, you showed this thing, but it's not 100% definitive proof. Again, I asked the same thing. All I know is the name is Emilio the Olympian, but I'm not seeing anything that directly connects this account to this person. Now, I'm not saying that Logan is lying about this. There could be a chance that this person is a complete scamming person as well, too, allegedly. Even Logan uses the word allegedly. Listen closely.
Emilio, the gentleman who supposedly let his child invest in a cryptocurrency, was allegedly responsible for...
Was allegedly responsible. Again, to understand about this whole situation right here, even if this person is a scammer allegedly, him being scammed is not something you can discount. These things don't have to be mutually exclusive, Logan. Somebody who is scamming allegedly can also be scammed. It doesn't also invalidate the other victims involved in this situation who feel victimized, who feel like they've gotten their money pulled away from them, and have no recourse. Again, failing to address that and simply cherry picking one example out of it, which again may or may not be true, because I'm not exactly seeing how Logan got to that exact analysis too. Even he's using the term alleged. And again, there's no 100% definitive proof. Look, I know I used alleged all the time, but the proof that Logan just showed there didn't really expressly confirm if that Emilio guy in the Telegram chat was the same Emilio that he was calling out. Again, you can give Logan the benefit of the doubt here, but it doesn't invalidate that at the end of the day, somebody did feel victimized. There are other people involved in the situation beyond Emilio.
A real internet detective would not break criminal and civil laws in trying to get information, right? So why have you allowed the illegal recording of Jeff's phone call without his permission? And then more like an internet criminal, post it online.
Okay, I've seen this happen to me time and time again, anytime I've recorded somebody, and this is an interesting situation. So Logan is actually looking into wiretapping laws, eavesdropping laws, the idea of recording calls. So for instance, in this entire point, he mentions that, or he shows that California is a 2-party consent state. Now, the way that recording works, and my understanding goes, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but the way that I've always understood it, a 2-party consent state typically requires, again, both parties involved to actually consent to that call. 2-party actually just means that all parties, even if there's more than 2, have to all consent to a call. Now, as far as I understand, Coffee, who's in the state of Texas, let's look at if Texas is a one-party or 2-party state. Texas is considered a one-party state. That means that unless at least one of the parties to a conversation consents, both Texas and federal wiretapping laws make it a crime to record an audio conversation, either in person or over the phone, if the parties have a reasonable expectation of privacy. So again, one thing to understand is you can get a bit technical. If you tell somebody that you're calling them to comment for a journalistic video, then should they reasonably have an expectation of privacy, unless you're saying, hey, this call should be off the record. Now again, in a one-party consent state, unless at least one party, so again, the party could literally be you. If you consent to recording the call, then you've actually matched all of it. You've matched all the requirements. And of course, federal wiretapping laws as well lead into this too. Here, federal law requires that at least one party taking part in the call must be notified of the recording. So again, even according to like just law that I'm reading federally, it's one-party consent. Now, of course, unless you went on a technicality and decided to say, hey, could the state of California get into a beef with the state of Texas and the federal government and say, hey, this guy didn't follow California law, then maybe you got him on a technicality there. But that's about the only thing that Logan is bringing. And if the entire counter to this is, hey, you're breaking technicalities over here, then we really don't have a case. Again, nothing so far is really mentioning the victims of CryptoZoo. Nothing is really mentioning why by this project has kind of seemed like it's been in limbo, all right? Even if you look into like just the Discord chats and the official Discords for CryptoZoo, I think Coffee did show, like on Twitter, that Logan Paul and various other members were pretty absent for months, and only until this started kicking up did they actually come in and say, hey guys, what's up? What's going on? Again, you know, one can look into all of these things and wonder, hey, if we're going off on this technicality, you're still not addressing the key. You're still not addressing the key situations, the key arguments that were brought up in alleging you for this CryptoZoo shenanigan. Okay, this CryptoZoo alleged scam that people are constantly saying.
Now, although you didn't verify any backgrounds, substantiate any evidence, took multiple criminals' words as truth,
how are we supposed to know that person was a criminal? Again, the records appeared sealed, Logan. I couldn't find anything. I've been trying to look everywhere. So unless you're outing somebody for a sealed record or maybe expunged, then that makes you really unethical in the situation. You went the extra mile to look for this person. Unless you're making this person's criminal records up, or you're actually revealing a sealed record that nobody should reasonably be able to find publicly, it makes you look even shitty. Again, I don't understand what's going on here.
And broke laws, you still publish the defamation. However, unlike you, the blockchain doesn't lie.
Oh, I love it when he says the blockchain doesn't lie. We'll get to this in a minute.
So let's highlight some things that you did point out. Crypto King Jake stole $6 million. True or not, we had already removed him from the team when we...
Why was he even a part of the project? Dude, Crypto King, there were embryos that could tell you that this guy wasn't trustworthy. Now, for those of you who don't know Jake the Crypto King, we looked at Jake the Crypto King 2 years ago, pretty much, when it came to the Pokemon boxes. For those of you who don't remember the infamous live stream with Dumb Money, where a Pokemon box was cracked open and Jake the Crypto King was in there trying to facilitate this, that box turned out to be a complete scam.
Let's see how we do.
Let's make it $19.99 again.
Very nice. What are we looking for underneath those packs would be bad?
The same pack. Oh,
The same thing. We want the
Does it say first edition? Yes, that's perfect. Keep going.
Woo!
Keep going.
Keep going.
Hold
Oh,
on.
the color's different on that one than that one. That one's not a first edition pack.
That's
Wait,
an
what?
issue.
This is an unlimited pack.
Oh no.
Yeah, look, they're open.
Yeah, no, that's a major issue.
This is a
Oh
resealed
my
box.
God, it's a resealed box.
All right, time to call the seller.
Yeah, no, money back on that.
Oh,
It's not even base set cards.
oh my God.
In parts that it was like a bunch of resealed nonsense packs. And again, this is the one dude that anytime that he's been criticized, anytime he's been brought into, any project that he's been working on, whether it be Pokemon cards, NFTs, crypto, there's always some shady shit that happens. Why you would ever trust this man when he's been publicly called out by numerous people. I've made videos on him. Wubby's made videos on him. I'm pretty sure Charlie's made videos on him. I'm sure CoffeeZilla's made videos on him. How could you actually bring this person in? It's like bringing Sam Pepper in for a crypto job or just hiring him again. We in the social media sphere should know that these bad actors exist. Again, Logan is not new to the world of crypto. And again, in his words, the blockchain doesn't lie. We're going to be looking into it. Why did you even bring the guy on board?
We realized he was a bad actor and his motives were purely financial. Conman Eddie, lead developer, stole $1.7 million. True or not, when we learned he was a bad actor as well, he was immediately removed from the team.
You had a whole ass time to realize this was a bad actor, my friend. You could have looked at the one article posted about him before and made a reasonable expectation. Should I keep a person with this history on my team or not? It's almost like Logan Paul has specifically hired only scumbags to work on this project. You got JB the Crypto King, who shouldn't be trusted. You've got Eddie here that again shouldn't be taken at face value given all the boasting that he's done about the Super Bowl and the Central Intelligence Agency. And then you've got, in your words, a convicted criminal who, again, I can't find information on because it seems like the records may be sealed. You brought all these characters on for a project that now you're just starting, like, it doesn't make you look good that these people with these backstories are involved. It really, like, one could ask, who are the only legitimate people working on this project? He's trying to pass the buck off when at the end of the day, brother, you brought them along. You kept them on board. You brought them into the situation. And you should have known with your background checks and your resources that they shouldn't have been brought on in the first place.
While myself and Jeff sold nothing and made nothing as verified through investigation and the blockchain.
Jeff, Logan's manager, to my knowledge, never sold. Neither did Logan Paul.
I repeat, Jeff and I made no money and will never make any money on CryptoZoo. In fact, we only lost money trying to pick up the pieces. As has been the case with dozens of crypto and NFT projects, the space is unfortunately ripe for bad actors to infiltrate projects that start with even the best intentions.
And yet, those same bad actors have found a way to worm into many facets of your project. Look, one of the things with the blockchain is if you look really hard into it, you can find a lot of weird things, especially regarding Logan Paul, okay? So let's just do a quick little side dive into Logan Paul's crypto wallets, okay? Now, trying to look through Logan's blockchain history isn't difficult. Anybody can do this. Going into, for example, one of Logan's most valuable looking NFTs, this one, which was at the time, I believe, purchased for $600,000, owned by Log. So this is Logan Paul's official, OpenSea account. Now you can see that this is worth $4,395, no activity any after that initial purchase, for 118 wrapped Ethereum. Now, of course, if you look at 118 wrapped Ethereum, the day that this was purchased, that was around $626,000. Of course, that was sent to Logan Paul's address. You can click here and see that it's OXFF0, which again opens up Logan Paul's official public-facing account, all right? This is what Logan Paul's wallet is. And of course, you can go into the blockchain and you can actually view by incoming and outgoing transactions all the money that is coming in and out of Logan Paul's account. So at this point, looking through some of the accounts that were sending Logan Paul a substantial amount of Ethereum that wasn't from Coinbase or another public account that belonged to somebody else, one account that stuck out was OX2346, which put into Logan's account 33 Ethereum all the way in 2021. Now, if you look at how much that was worth at the day of, that's about $106,000. That is not a small amount, and this is not just some random. So let's obviously look through this account over here, and you can see that this is OX2346EF2. Now, one thing to note about this account is you can obviously look through its ERC20 tokens, its transactions, but of course, out of 16 transactions, the last time it was touched was 246 days ago. However, ERC20 tokens show that literally in the last 4 days and 2 hours, when the account finally went live again, this had about 10,000 CryptoZoo put into it. Again, it's interesting to see the relationship of these accounts constantly interacting in and out of Logan Paul. And of course, after this massive CryptoZoo scandal, all of a sudden, this account just suddenly going live to receive CryptoZoo. Now, of course, Logan Paul wants to make things right, so I imagine whoever this account is being held by has to be close to that team, all right? Or somebody involved in it if they're receiving this money. Maybe it's a way to fix up the project. We'll have to see. Typically, when things are being repaired or things are being renewed, you're going to see these kind of transactions. So again, it may be indicative of trying to make things right, so to speak, or putting this project back on track. But again, it's interesting to see that transaction. But before we jump into that aspect real quick, if we just look through the transactions list, you can see the seed money came from OX3BC77, which again is an account that consistently puts money to Logan Paul in terms of 29 Ethereum, 16 Ethereum, 30 Ethereum, not small amounts of money. Now, its initial seed money came from OXD3CF54, and if you open that one up, ladies and gentlemen, this account has some rather interesting history too. Its ERC1155 tokens show that it currently owns 2 Maverick NFTs. Again, you can view these NFTs for yourself. They're Logan Paul's box breaker NFTs. But now, instead of just going back down the trail, let's look at the ERC20 tokens real quickly too. You can see that this account, again, consistently sends money back and forth and receives a large chunk of money from various people. So Logan Paul gives it Bondly tokens back in 2021. And of course, this then sends Logan Paul back some Bondly tokens. So obviously Logan's involved in this account. Then if you look around, some of the larger sums of money, and again, larger sums of deployer stuff comes from Ethereum Max. Alameda Research, who's recently been in the news, gave this account $500,000. Whitebit gave this $250,000, so again, $250,000, of which after that, Logan Paul also gets $113,000 from this account. Binance, obviously being a, exchange, this is where money was being put into. But these are rather interesting names. Whitebit in specifically, one that we'll look at real quick. Now again, if you go all the way back to the 0x2346 address, which is one of the wallets connected to Logan Paul, one thing you should know from any investigation that I've done, or really most people have done, is on the Ethereum system, you can actually look at this and you can see the same wallet on 3 other different chains. Now, of course, if we switch to BSC scan, which is the Binance Smart Chain for 0x2346, you can see that it's also involved in other massive projects. Aside from sending out money to OXD3CF in the tune of 211 BNB, which, by the way, if you look at the actual time here, $75,000 on the day of. Let's go back here real quick, look through the BEP20 tokens. It's interesting enough to note over here that one of the biggest first initial changes was Dink Doink, a project, as you may remember, Logan Paul was involved in. Now, one of the tweets that Logan Paul once has up, and it still does, is this is the dumbest, most ridiculous shitcoin I've ever seen, and this is why I'm all in. Stonks to the moon. Now, this is back in June 28th of 2021, June being the 6th month of the year, January, February, March, April, May, June, as you can count. You can go back to the Dink Doink check over here, and again, if we filter just this 2346 account by Dink Doink purchases, you can see just 3 days before this account was involved, again, June 28th, so not 3 days, more like 5 days, you can see that this account was just purchasing a crap ton of Dink, so swapping Ethereum for the tokens. I wanted to also see just how much money was basically exchanged around, so I decided to get each and every single one of these transactions, basically mark down exactly, how much was purchased at the time, and of course how much was sold, and tabulating it all up, I think it was something around like, from what I've seen, from what I've analyzed, $43,000 worth of this token was bought, and then $70,000 worth of it was sold, which of course puts the grand total around a profit of like, what, $26,000, which again makes me question even why. Like, sure, whoever this account was definitely, I guess, made money out of it, but was it substantial? No. Does it kind of reek of somebody having insider knowledge based on the times given, based on the dates? Yeah, it would seem like that is the case in that scenario. It's like the reward is not even big enough considering like the risk you kind of take if any regulatory agency or law enforcement agency was to look into this and make their conclusions. Now again, that doesn't mean that this account is Logan Paul doing it, but it's just something to question when you see this account's connectivity on the Ethereum scan with Logan, constantly in and then out and then in, and not for small sums of money, in some cases 33 Ethereum, which is a fair chunk of change. Again, a lot of this is, I'm really bringing it up to show that Logan Paul, the Crypto Zoo was not the first thing Logan was involved into. Logan has done other promotions for various, cryptocurrency ventures. One, for instance, is Superbit. So, for instance, during his fight with, I believe it was KSI, there was a few Superbit auctions that were live, things like his replica fight shorts, the actual fight robe, and a meet and greet experience, so on and so forth. There were other things where Logan also, again, shared that, hey, #ad, biggest pay-per-view fight, and of course, Superbid was one of the big partners. Now, of course, this one ad you can see was posted on June 2nd, 2021. And again, going back to that OX2346 wallet that we were so keen in looking at, one of the things that's really interesting about this wallet is you can see even Superbid is reflected within that. Not just CryptoZoo, but Superbid. And again, look at the dates that line up from, again, even Whitebit, which we saw earlier put in like $250,000 into this one account that Alameda Research, Logan Paul, and Whitebit were involved in. Whitebit actually sent this account around on May of 26th, so again, a few days before this was posted, a fair bit of the Superbit token, and then of course Superbit was swapped out. Again, you want to see like almost at the end of them, or a couple months later, actually. This would be the 8th, 21. So a couple months later, Superbid was then swapped out on the market. Now, while Superbid is coming soon and their Twitter account is unknowingly suspended, surprisingly, I would say, it's also funny how they link on their website to a Twitter account that they can show is disabled by them versus their partners who are still linking to one of their official accounts that appear to actually be suspended. Kind of suspicious, I would. Something to note is Whitebit was in fact partnered with them, and this is why we're looking at them directly, because that would show that there is some sort of partnership between the two companies, which is why that token is then being sent out for one would have to assume is some sort of marketing payment or some involvement with the personality. So again, when you look at these crypto accounts to see a lot of this commonality and these connections between each other and dates lining up with various promotion deals and crypto promotions, one can reasonably expect or reasonably assume that these accounts may have more connectivity than just, random purchases. They appear to be under one umbrella. Now, the reason I was looking into this a little bit heavily in terms of it and looking through Logan Paul's blockchain history and looking at the accounts interconnected to him was to try to find the ones that had a good connection to Logan Paul. Because you got to understand, when it comes to these crypto accounts, money that is exchanged constantly back and forth is on the blockchain. And of course, some of these accounts that Logan Paul's official accounts are putting money into and Logan is receiving, and then looking at the transactions, connecting those accounts, and looking where Logan and other large entities are putting money into, and then looking at the history of those accounts on other blockchains, and looking at the relations of their transactions with some of Logan's tweets, like for instance with Dink Doink, it's something to look at and it's something to question, in my opinion. You can have a healthy question as to why some of these accounts, days before you started tweeting out about these cryptocurrency projects that, again, went nowhere. If you look at Dink Doink's price graph, you can see that this is a project that, again, this is the max graph of it. It spiked up at the beginning and absolutely flatlined. It's something to look into why these accounts related to Logan's public-facing crypto account are involved in purchasing this currency just days before his tweets, and then just days after the tweets or weeks after, dumping it out on the open market. It's something to consider, something to wonder why it happens, okay? Why did that occur? Even according to Logan's video, Logan's response, where he's like, there's a lot of bad actors, Logan has a higher aptitude of the blockchain, of crypto projects, than the average person for sure, given the fact that he's promoted numerous projects, and he definitely knows how a lot of these wallets and systems currently work. He is far more adept at this stuff. And one can say that looking into some of these transaction histories and the timing of these tweets, there are some questions that are raised, okay? Some questions that are brought up that aren't completely based on speculative, like guessing or complete conjecture. Anyways, let's go back to the video. I wanted to take a side dive to really showcase that Logan Paul is not oblivious to cryptocurrency. I mean, he doesn't claim that either, but it's something that I think everybody should know before giving anybody the benefit of the doubt. Logan Paul knows crypto about as well as pretty much anybody else knows in the market. He's promoted it a fair bit, and given the fact that we've seen him interacting with various wallets, I think he knows how this shit works.
Affiliated with Crypto Zoo, and we hope the money he reappropriated was worth ruining his reputation. Con man Eddie is being investigated by a higher authority that I cannot speak on. As you can imagine, I was not cleared from legal to discuss much of this, including the legal process being undertaken and the criminal investigations going on during the fallout, but I do appreciate you calling out that rats under my nose stole the game code, millions of dollars, and left Jeff and I abandoned with no team and knives in our back. But even after 12 months of work, you've still managed to overlook one crucial piece of information. See, even though I've said it's coming so many times, you've assumed that Crypto Zoo isn't being made. Who are you to decide when the development timeline ends? I got everything stolen from me in our community, stopped promoting publicly as soon as I knew the extent of the internal issues, took all of the heat on social, and you still published a defamatory hit piece fully knowing I was innocent just so you could enrich yourself in your $10 million studio. Sharp, but deeply unethical, dangerously misleading, and illegal. I suggest you use the money you got from pumping your Patreon to hire a good lawyer.
All right, so at this point, the lawsuit threat has been issued. And again, I don't know if Logan really has a ground to sue. Again, defamation, you really have to show some reckless disregard for the truth. And this is where, like, Coffee, who was reaching out to Logan several times, really just proves that there wasn't really a disregard for, just, again, blatant, spreading misinformation. And again, there's a few things. Defamation cases, especially in the States, are really hard to win, so I don't know if Logan really has a leg to stand on. He might have something in regards to two-party consent technicality, but again, that's really pushing it. Again, nothing here is really addressed the real criticisms that have been brought into the situation. And again, Logan, all right, the development timeline, I get it. Anybody can come back and say, hey, this project wasn't dead. I was only waiting. I sunsetted it for a little bit just so I can work out the issues. Yeah, that's true. But according to even the Crypto Zoo Twitter, it was completely unused since May of 2022. In fact, the only time it ever had life in it was when you retweeted this response video from that Twitter account, or you had somebody on that team do it. So again, one could reasonably expect that a project is dead. Look, there's probably tons of Steam games that exist in early access that haven't been updated for a goddamn year. Does that mean that those projects are still being developed? I mean, if you want it to be charitable, one could say that this might have just appeared to be abandonware at this point. And yeah, I think some could have a reasonable expectation to believe that.
And maybe we could have talked about this if you had reached out to me, personally. Not my manager, Jeff, who is not me, Steven, but the first time you did was on Christmas Eve after you released your series so you could rely on false statements and unreliable people you...
That is a false statement, because even according to Coffee over here, ladies and gentlemen, no joke intended, he actually did communicate to Logan Paul, October of last year. October 1st, 2021, sent to Logan Paul's Instagram account. Hey Logan, I've been trying to reach people from the CryptoZoo team to get comment on the emerging story that the devs for the project haven't been paid. I have two really good sources saying they've not been paid by CryptoZoo. So here he's communicating to Logan Paul, to which Logan says, if you expect me to see every DM that comes through from every social media gossip channel trying to make a name for themselves, you're ridiculous. Weren't you self-fellatiating this man in the very beginning? Again, he sent you a DM. Again, it's really up to you to have seen this in some of your open DM pools out there. But again, this is precisely why people do reach to managers. Most reporting firms, most journalistic groups do reach out to managers. Those managers will relay information to you as they see fit, or if they need to. Again, contacting the manager is about as good as contacting you directly. Logan, I think you can reasonably understand that you are a large enough figure to need a manager so that people can communicate to you. Lots of people do it, all right? You're not a special person in the situation. You were asked about this beforehand, your management team was asked about this beforehand, and it was up to you to get a good comment out there. How much can one reasonably ask you for comment before they have to just run with the story?
Recklessly. The subject line was third request for comment. Yeah, not quite. This will be my third time reaching out to you and your team. The first two times were through your manager, Jeff. The first two times were through your manager, Jeff. Okay, so the last time on Christmas Eve, after the fact, was to me. You have a funny way of twisting things. And I also noticed you left out that part on Twitter. Why hide that? Trust me, CryptoZoo is coming. I will make damn sure of it. And honestly, it sucks that after years of personal reform, going through trials and tribulations and busting my ass to evolve into a person that I can say I'm actually proud of, you led the charge to drive and monetize a narrative telling millions of...
Again, more ad hominem attacks, which is where I'm going to cut this off over here. The last thing to know is CryptoZoo is coming, 2023, 2024. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the wildest and dumb response videos that I've ever seen. And I had a lot to say about this. Honestly, this video is reaching up to an hour long. But I figured we might as well criticize and respond better than Logan ever could. Look, there's a lot of questions that are still being raised off of CryptoZoo. And there's a lot of answers that I expected Logan to give in the 7-minute response that I haven't seen anything of. Logan has not truly responded to the actual criticisms in regard to CryptoZoo. And did I expect to see that? No. If anything, this video is filled with ad hominem attacks, information that pretty much outed Logan to be a terrible leader of any project, because if you're hiring pretty much the Avenger squad of scumbags to work for you, can anybody truly believe in a crypto project you run or any project that you run? Look, at the end of the day, looking through Logan Paul's blockchain history with his various accounts and accounts tied to him raises some questions about all the promotions that he's done and the timing of those promotions, the purchasing of tokens and the selling of tokens, especially in accounts that have a great relation to his main official Ethereum account. Look, again, I'm just raising questions. I'm not saying Logan Paul is a scammer, and nor can I prove that 100%. Nobody can. And that's the reality of all of this. Look, at the end, did I expect anything tangible to come out of this? No. Logan really didn't address the real concerns of the CryptoZoo project. If anything, he just said, hey, it's going to be coming at some point in 2023, 2024. Whether that's going to be a real thing or not, I guess we'll find out. But when it comes to some of his history on the blockchain, because like Logan says, the blockchain doesn't lie. If you look at Logan's official account and him interacting with certain crypto accounts that appear to have a substantial vested interest in him as a person, there are transaction dates aligning with some of the projects that he's promoted, like Dink Doink, for instance, that can raise some questions to anybody reasonably jumping in. Again, I hope Logan has an explanation for a lot of things, but he had 7 minutes to address actual criticisms for this Crypto Zoo stuff, and all 7 minutes were spent in ad hominem attacks and proving that he cannot hire a team. If you get the Avenger squad of scumbags, that proves that you cannot be trusted with any project that you run. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty much all I have to say about Logan Paul. Honestly, I don't think this person should be given the time of day or should be ever trusted, period. Given all of the stuff that has come out about him, all of the allegations that have been raised, I think one can look at Logan and look at a pattern of behavior that has happened in the last few years, especially in regards to some of these crypto projects, that make him an unreliable person to follow for any advice, any project that he leads. And that's pretty much where I'm going to end it at, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, Mudahar. I've been up all night. I got to go get some rest. Hopefully this video comes out right. I am out.